Thanks unto the Most High Jah Rastafari, Black Giant King. So, for many years, when my sons were growing up, I used to take them to various locations in the UK where I could rent a cottage out with its own cooking facilities and therefore maintain and accommodate my vegan diet. Trips to Mauritius, where my dad's from, and Ethiopia resulted in me losing weight all 4 times simply because I just couldn't eat as I wanted to because they don't cater for vegans. So from that aspect, staying at the Westender Inn in a self-catering facility has been blessed, and I will be going home from this occasion having lost no weight, which is good, and I give thanks. So let's start on a positive note with the ultimate review of Westender Inn. The 2 main stars of the show are basically the staff and the location. The staff are very hard-working, very kind, and very willing. The location is a good location up in the hills in Negril, where if it's peace and quiet you're looking for and some kind of medi, you couldn't do any better. So, yeah, large up all the staff and the location is good. So we start with the complaints now. So some of these are my own complaints and some of these are complaints I've had passed on to me from other residents. So one of the main ones for me since I've been here, and I've been here 14 nights, this is the last night, I've enjoyed 2 power cuts. First one wasn't too bad because it came in the morning before I was going out anyway, and by the time I returned the power was back on. The second one, however, lasted 18 hours and was real unpleasant. No fans in the room, which although fans aren't air conditioning, as long as you don't wear much, you can survive the heat in the room. However, with no electricity, it was really hard to endure. So regarding these 2 power cuts, I and the residents I spoke to have had no apology or compensation offered. And when one did proffer the subject of compensation, the answer from the owner, who I'll be addressing later, was that the place was barely surviving now, so he couldn't afford to pay any compensation anyway, which is just not good enough. I understand that some residents of different ethnicity have been apologized to, so that again is not good. Building works. They sent round a flyer to all the rooms saying that for one day during X amount of hours there's going to be building works that are essential and need doing, and therefore apologising for the inconvenience, blah blah blah. Yeah, it happened. It was loud, some proper heavy digging. But it wasn't one day, it was 3 days. and the noise level and inconvenience was unacceptable. Again, no apologies or compensation offered for this. So I've made do with the facilities here in terms of cooking in the kitchen, and largely I've managed, but I discovered there were ants on the work surfaces in the kitchen, and this is something I couldn't work with because hygiene, cooking and all that is all rolled into one in my liberty. So I complained. They said they'd send somebody round to spray areas. Next day I got them back again, the ants that is, and I complained again. And they said they'd send somebody again. Then the ants disappeared for a couple of days, but they're back now. So that's really unpleasant. They're coming from underneath the sink unit and around the taps. So that's really unpleasant still. Complaints from other residents is that they've got really low water pressure or no water at all. And some people's cooker wasn't working at all either, which is, major. I think the complimentary shuttle is misleading. It's like you get the free shuttle as long as you're going to the beach. But if you want to stop somewhere else on the way to the beach and be picked up somewhere else on the way back from the beach, you've got to pay. For me, that's misleading and penny pinching. If you're going to offer a complimentary shuttle going to a certain point, then residents should be able to stop at any point once, not, one time to do shopping or one time to whatever. Stop once, get off, and then get picked up at the same point on the way back. That's what I would call a complimentary shuttle. So for me, that's a bit misleading. Cabins are very low-tech and 70s in style and nature, and have clearly been maintained just to keep them going, as opposed to improving them or updating them or making them better. So bearing all this in mind, I spoke to some of the employees about the owner, just trying to find out what I could about him. And I asked if he was a new owner that had inherited this and was, bit by bit going through it, trying to do his thing and renovate it and what have you. And I was told proudly that the owner was going to be celebrating his 40 years of having this business. And I thought, well, wait, this guy's had this place 40 years. So in 40 years, he's done jack shit. All he's done is milked it dry. And now probably to the point that, he has to do something in order to keep it going or sell it. So I'm giving it 2 stars from 5. And the 2 stars I want to reiterate are for the staff, who are good staff, working class Jamaican people with a good work ethic, and the location, which is a very beautiful location. So let's hope in the future the business is sold to somebody who's business-minded and progressive, maybe of colour. And then because this place has got a lot of potential for the right person, you know, a lot of potential. You know, you'd have to speculate to accumulate, but in doing so, you'd make much more money than the current owners ever made. I don't know. Anyway, give thanks and Jug and some protection.